Good morning, class, and welcome to the contact class for 2020. My name is Abraham Sholongera, and I'm your tutor for this module, which is Agricultural Education 2 BES HE31. That's your code for your modules, and I believe you are on the right modules. Before I start, for any other information about these modules, in case you do not understand anything or you want more clarifications about these modules, I feel free to contact me on my mobile number, which is 081-4438-360, or you can just send me an email at septembavictory@gmail.com. Once again, I said welcome to this module, which is Agricultural Education 2. And in this module, I wish you all to be hardworking, dedicated, and self-driven students in this course. The presentation that I'm about to give you covers the subject's content only in brief, because I'm not going to cover the whole subject today because of the limited times. I'm only going to cover some basic or some contents in brief, or to share with you some general guidelines that I want each one of you to keep in mind when you are preparing for the April or May 2020 examination. To give you a bit of introduction of this module, the module is divided in 5 units, which will logically introduce you to agriculture. And the main aim of these modules are to enable students to develop the following theoretical understandings, values, and competencies in agriculture, and is also to analyze the food production and economic role of agriculture in Namibia, and also to discuss the aspects of production in agriculture. And this unit will also explain the aspects of vegetables productions and marketing. It will also explain aspects of poultry production and marketing, and it will also discuss the aspects of financial management, and also discuss and apply appropriate teaching methodology. Let us look at the ways by which agriculture provides food to peoples and animals. As we all know that agriculture is the main source of food productions to both human and animals. Now, let us look at by which way the agriculture provides food to people and animals in this context. Agriculture provides food to the people through staple food, such as pure millet. Pure millet is mahangu or maize. So the productions of maize or mahangus can provide food to the people or the animals. So like to the animals, mahangu can provide in form of flowers, and animals, mahangu, the fodders can be used, the crop fodders can be used as animal feeds. Cattle also provide meat and milk for the people. In Namibia, livestock mainly beef, or the dual purpose cattle breed, or pigs, or poultry, sheep and goats. These are widespread and critical to socio-economic developments of the countries. About 70% of the people in the rural areas depend on livestock for their food, income, and also for livelihoods. Livestock are also used in traditional ceremonies, for example, in weddings or in parties, more especially in the north. The cattle are more important. They can be slaughtered during those big ceremonies. Conserved fodders can be used to feed animals during dry season. Natural grazings and crop residues from cereals such as pure millet, maize, and sorghum form the basal diets of the animals in communal areas of Namibia. This has been used to feed animals. Also, the forage production system is practiced to provide fodder for farm animals. We are talking about, we can refer to those things of hay production or silage. Brewers spend grain is a valuable potential supplementary feed for livestock. Let us look at food preservation. In the previous modules that I believe that we have also covered, we have also talked about food preservations. That food preservation may be defined as a process of treating and handling food in such a way as to stop or to control or greatly slow down spoilage. And of course, you want to minimize the potential of foodborne illness while maintaining the optimum nutritional value, texture, and flavor. So it's just simple method of preventing or to slow down the spoilage of food in order to avoid or to control the microbial contaminations or to deactivate the microbial activities on the food. Now, looking at the methods of food preservation, so there are many methods of food preservations. We have talked already, or we have already covered these methods in the previous modules, as I said, because before you come to these modules, I believe you have already covered also Agricultural Education 1. Now, one of the methods of food preservation here is sun roasting that we have already covered, dehydrations, and also seasonings. And the main product that can be done or processed or using this method is mainly meat. Canning is another method of food preservations, and mainly beef, pork, even fish, they can be canned. Fermentation is another method, and the product that can be preserved by this method of fermentation is milk, or the cereals, or cereal young stalks, or even grapes. They can be processed by fermentation. Cooling, for example, raw milk. Also, raw milk can be cooled. We have said that maybe by keeping them in the shade, or putting the milk in the ice, or putting the milk in the stream of water. And also pasteurizations. You know, pasteurization is a process of exposing milk to a higher heat. So in order to kill the bacteria or microorganisms. So an example of the product that can be preserved by this is raw milk. The raw milk can be pasteurized in order to preserve them or to keep them for a long period of time. So in this case, we have got that we call the UHT milk. They can be processed by this method of pasteurization. Desiccations and pulverizations. This can be done by eggs. Eggs can be preserved by this method of desiccation. Chilling. So the product that can be done by chilling is poultry, beef, mutton, lamb, or pork fish. So chilling is just referred to freezing or cooling or freezing or storing the products at the very high temperatures so that you also deactivate the microbial activities. Let us look at how agriculture production can be improved in Namibia. To improve agricultural production, the farmer needs to learn about their customers' needs and wants. So it's one of the most important things first before you improve the agricultural production in Namibia. It's necessary for the farm to understand what their customers want or what their customers needs. And that will help them to be able to improve the agricultural production in your area or in Namibia in general. Now, the government, through various line ministries, should educate consumers about farming and the farm products that can be grown in each regions of the country. So this can help also to improve the agricultural productions. When the farmers are aware of what product is suitable to be farmed in what particular regions. So this will help also the farming production to be improved in the country. The government should also, through research and extension services, promote and support new and emerging technologies for farmers to produce more produces per unit area. The government should also, through the tax regimes, import and export controls, give or create competitive advantage in selling food products by local farmers. Non-governmental organizations and the private sectors should also join hands with the government in mobilizing community organizations and food community associations with the aim of fostering interest and support in farming. So once then the NGOs and some private sectors and those farm associations, when they come together and put their ideas together, this can help better to improve the agricultural productions in Namibia. So it is also necessary to promote stronger connection between consumers and nearby farmers with the goal of improving family nutrition as well as the local economy. So these are few ways or some measures on how agricultural production can be successfully improved in Namibia. Let us also look at some crucial topic or aspect in this module on how land and water pollution affect agro-business and people's incomes. So we have water pollution and also land pollution, and such type of pollutions have some impact or negative impact on the agro-business and people's income. Now, for example, air pollution causes minor respiratory irritation to headache and nausea. Such condition can be serious in children and also the elderly people. And now during combustions, sulfur dioxide is also released, and when inhaled, the lung tissues is damaged. So these are now some of the gases that are exposed or that are released due to combustions, more especially due to higher traffic or some industrial activities that are taking place. And this toxin or poisonous gas may be released and cause this type of diseases or lung issues when they are being inhaled by the communities or by the people. Long-term effects include cancer and cardiac diseases. So these are some of the effects when this air pollution or with this gas are released into the air and they are being taken. So in a wrong process, they would or they might cause cancer or some cardiac diseases. When we talk of cardiac diseases, we are referring to heart diseases. Contaminations of water by mercury and heavy metals from mining operation is of special concern. Mercury in its most virulent form, methyl mercury, is highly toxic. Higher mercury levels are responsible for most fish deaths. Pregnant women who consume contaminated fish put their offspring at risk for adverse neurodevelopment effects. So that's why it's very important to take control of these mercuries, or for example from these mining operations, so that these mercuries cannot be transported or be allowed to contaminate the waters, because the moment now the water is being consumed, it becomes dangerous or unfit, more especially to the pregnant woman. Mercury is also known to be toxic to human nervous system. It has been linked to Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, and heart diseases. Now, continuing with how land and water pollution affect agribusiness and people's income, we are continuing with that aspect. As we say, pollution is wasteful in that humans have to spend part of their income to prevent or to control and to treat health complications caused by all kinds of pollutions. That's why it's very important to avoid this type of pollution, because now the moment this pollution take place, it's costly. It will also now cause people will spend a lot of income or a lot of money in order to be able to control this type of, or to eliminate this kind of pollutions. So pollution kill insects like bees. These insects play a vital role in pollinations, and if their population is reduced, the pollination of crops and other plants will be reduced and crop yields will fall. So the quantity that can be sold is also now reduced. The quantity of raw materials to the food and non-food industries will be reduced as well. In turn, the income will be reduced. So this is how water and land pollution, or just pollution in general, affect the agribusiness or even the people's incomes. Now, at the same time, pollution also increases cost, as cleanings of the land and the water resources is very costly. So apart from these effects or negative impacts of soil pollution or land pollutions, I also want you to go back to your study guide and study the benefits of proper usage of modern tools, the safety measures in using different hand tools and machineries in agriculture. So this aspect or these topics, they are in your study guide. Please go into details in your study guide. As I said, I will not be able to cover everything on this platform because of limited times, but I urge you to go back to your study guide and study those benefits of proper usage of modern tools, and also the safety measures in using different hand tools and machinery in agriculture. Let us look at the poultry production, reason of keeping chickens. Chickens act as a ready source of income for smallholders farms to pay for fees, medication, among other cash needs. Chicken provide cheap protein and white meat and eggs. As we all know that chickens is a very crucial domesticated animals or birds that have more benefits to the locals or domestic farmers. So chicken normally, or poultry normally, they often have rituals and religious meanings and form important items in social exchanges and functions. For example, during the weddings and pleasing valued visitors, or as a gift, more especially in the rural areas or in the northern regions of Namibia. So chickens are very important, or they are very unique or special. When it comes to functions, or you want to please your visitors, or it's during the weddings, so chickens can be presented as a very special gift, or as a special dish also to the visitors. Chickens are also kept to minimize risk and ensure long-term survival. They are highly efficient users of available biomass, for example, grasses, shrubs, and herbs, more especially now the indigenous chickens that can be adapted to any conditions or any harsh conditions. So they consume grasses and other plants that cannot otherwise be consumed by humans, and convert it to a range of variable products. For example, eggs, meat, and chicken manures. These can be used as variable products, or they can also be used for sales and to generate income for the farmer. They contribute to grass-root system by dispersing grass seeds, keeping unnecessary weeds in check, and fertilizing the soil with their manure. Now, I also want you to go back to your study guide and also learn about common diseases, common parasites, and predators which attack poultry, and types of poultry breeds. So we have diseases and parasites and those predators that attack poultry. And we also have different types of poultry breed. So for example, the indigenous breed. So I want you to go back to your study guides and look at this subject into more details. Let us look at the requirements of a good poultry housing in terms of durability, cost effectiveness, and ventilation. The poultry house should be durable, and this means it must be strong enough to be used for a few years without major cost in repairs. So this is now when you are preparing or when you are considering building or establishing a poultry house. So therefore we say that the poultry house should be durable, and this means it must be strong enough to be used for a few years without major cost in repairs. Use materials that are not very expensive. At least you can use cheaper materials. The building should be well positioned in view of the prevailing wind direction. So because you have to consider the directions of wind when you are constructing the poultry house. So in order to avoid the house in the future to be blown away by the wind. So the house should not be in the direction of waste disposal area, as all the bad smell would pass through the poultry house and make them feel uncomfortable. So poultry are very sensitive animals and they need extra care. So some bad smells or odors that are coming from the disposal areas might cause some diseases or some infections to the poultry. Some gases, for example, some gases from the waste materials may affect their respiratory badly. So the house should have adequate openings for free circulations of fresh air. The house should be easy to open and close in order to control the amount of wind entering the house. The poultry house should be north or south facing so that the sun moves roughly above the building from the sunrise to sunset. So this is the reason, because the house should not be facing to the east in order to avoid direct sunlight to the house, or it must also not face the west, because during the sunset also this might also have, the sunlight must also have an impact on the poultry. Let us also now look at another crucial subject in these modules, which is very much important. And this aspect is the aspect of records keeping, or just records. As you know, records are very crucial documents that mostly contain those valid or proof of evidence of our daily activities. So like everything that you do daily is being kept or recorded somewhere in that particular documents. So, and this record provide evidence of what has been happening or taking place in your daily activities or operations or business or farm. Now, looking at the values of record keeping, so records give that detailed knowledge about the vegetable operations of the business. It can be a vegetable or any other business operations. So records are there to give that details knowledge. Records help with the identifications of trends in demands and supply. Records also enable the accurate control over finance and product quality, since vegetables are perishables. So if you don't have proper records of finances, then this will lead to inappropriate or farm management, or even to a loss, because you are not accountable of what is, whether there is a loss of finances or there's an increase in your finances. You will not be able to tell whether you are spending more or you are spending less in your business operations. Now, record is also key to the identification of individual cost to allow changes to a product or process to optimize profits. It's necessary in keeping track of money owed to the vegetable business. So when you keep records, you will be able to tell or to track all the money that is owed to your business operations or all the debts that are due to the business operations. So records also give evidence for tax authorities or maybe a legal requirement. Records is a factual basis for product pricing or salary levels on the vegetable venture. So because you cannot decide on increasing salaries or reducing salaries if you do not have proper financial records in your business, because you don't know whether your business is profitable or is not viable. So provide knowledge and is useful in the avoidance of theft. So that's the importance of or the value of records keeping, that it will also provide then that knowledge, and it's also useful in order to avoid theft. Because when you have records of all the activities or the records of every stock that is coming in or the stock that is coming out, you will be able to tell that there's nothing missing on your, or there's no theft or nothing was stolen from your business. Now, I want you also to go back to your study guide and learn about records in details, the importance and the useful records. There are useful records in business. There are records that are more useful in any business operations. So I want you to go back and look at those. What are those useful records? And what are the importance of those records? And study more details on the aspect of record keeping. So there is so much being said about records in our study modules. So I want you to go there and look at that subject of records keeping in your study guide. Let us look at the importance of servicing tools in agriculture. As we all know that there are so many tools and machineries in agricultural venture. So now it's for us to know or to understand the importance of servicing those tools in agriculture. So one of the importance of servicing those tools is to make sure that your farm tools and machineries are updated and functioning at peak level. Should be every farm's top priority. So out of date and poor maintenance equipment is likely to hinder and not facilitate maximum farm productivity. So if your equipment or if your tools or your machineries are outdated, so they will hinder or they will not facilitate the maximum farm productivity. Machineries and tools should be maintained so that they are fully functional for the farm business to flourish. Failure or deliberately avoiding maintaining your farm equipment, thinking you are saving money, is not wise. Because maybe sometimes you are so concerned, maybe because some equipments, they are costly to maintain or to provide service to them. Now, if you are there trying to say, I know I'll keep money, and you just ignore or not keeping proper service of your agricultural equipments, so that will not save, because it will end up that you will end up buying a new equipment instead of having just keeping, maintaining or value that equipment, or to keep it in a good shape. So in the long run, this will reduce efficiency and will definitely raise your operational costs, because we end up buying new equipment every day because they are being worn out. Farm equipment must be cleaned and dried after use to avoid corrosions. If equipment is always dirty, farm workers will not find any reason to use them properly. So they might end up giving an excuse of saying that they are not being productive enough because the equipment that is being used on the farm, or they are not in good conditions, or they are being worn out, or they are being dirty. So that will also now reduce the optimum yields of the farm, or the productivities of the farm. Rough looking equipment will always be used roughly, and clean equipment is normally used gently by farm workers. So if the equipments are not in good condition, the farmers will also not treat them right. But if the equipment is in good conditions, the farmer will also use it, or the farm workers or the workers, they will also use it gently or in an appropriate manner. Working with clean equipment is also pleasant, and it maximizes labor effort by the farm workers. Equipment should be properly greased or oiled depending on what is appropriate. So continuing with the servicing, the importance of servicing tools in agriculture. So the equipment should be properly greased or oiled, as I said, depending on what is appropriate. Tools and machineries parts that moves are subjected to frictional forces. Now, to reduce friction, lubrication is the key. So it's very important to apply the oil or to lubricate your equipment in order to avoid that frictions of the machineries. Friction causes wear and tear, and it reduces the lifespan, or it depreciates the implements rapidly. Keep them away from rain. Now we are referring to the farm equipment and the machineries. It is necessary that you keep them away from rain and direct heat, so that even their paint work remains in a good conditions and appealing to the eye. So because if you leave equipment there for the rain to fall on, so this might, or rain might also, or the direct sunlight might also have an impact on the color or the paints of the equipment. So you find that some paints will be being removing off or wearing off from the equipment because of too much heat or too much rainfall that has fallen on the equipment. So the important part of proper storage is to prevent implements from rusting. It is important to keep a record or inventory of the tools and machineries and record due to dates for service. It is difficult to remember everything, so relying on your memory is not recommended. That's why it's important to keep records of your inventories of the equipment. It's because inventory is very important, because you will know what type of equipments are kept, then the quantity of the equipments are kept, where the equipment is kept. So this is necessary to have those type of records, so that it will be easy to access to the equipment, and it will be easy also to use the equipment. So do not rely on your memories, because it will take time for you to remember maybe where have you kept this type of machineries or this type of tools. So it's very important to keep records or the inventories of all your machineries and tools on the farm or in your any other type of business operation. Use records as an effective information system that will help you to make decisions on time. Now, I also want you to learn about vegetables diseases. We have spoken about vegetables before, but I want you to learn about vegetable diseases, ways by which people can earn money through agriculture, and the influence of consumers on agricultural productions. This, I want you to go to your study guide and go into details and study this as aspects of this subject. Now, looking at the vegetables, as I said, you must also go back and read more about this subject of vegetables. But we are going to look at part of the vegetables, or on just on a small just on a portion, just to tackle on on part of the vegetable aspect. When we are talking about a vegetable itself, what are we referring to, or what are we talking about? A vegetable is a plant or part of a plant which is used as food, such as a cabbage, potato, turnip, or bean, or even fresh fruit and vegetables that can be referred as a vegetable. A vegetable is not necessarily a plant. Now, let us look at how to prepare seed beds for planting or sowing vegetables. So, when you are planting vegetable, in most cases, vegetables are planted on the seed beds. Now you want to know, or you want to look at how do you prepare these seed beds when you are planting or sowing vegetables. So when you are preparing for this seed bed, or when you are sowing vegetables, the soil should always be moist. So make sure that the soil is moist. You cannot plant or transplant or sow vegetables on a dry soil. Fertilizations of vegetables seedlings can be done where necessary. The farmer should use appropriate fertilizer supplied by a reputable garden centers. Before transplanting, the plant should be put outside during the day and back in the nursery during the night for 1 or 2 weeks so that they may become strong and remain viable in their new environment when transplanted. This is called now hardening off. So now the receiving side should be prepared also by deeply and roughly turning over the soil, digging to the depth of the spade, and breaking up with a fork any hard clods. It is advisable to remember the wise gardener's maxim. So the wise gardener's maxim is now sow dry, plant wet. Use a garden line to healthy line up the seedlings. It is nice to work in an environment that has some order. Where necessary, reduce the population density by thinning. Thinning involves removing some plants to reduce overcrowdings. So this will help now the plant to breathe and also to grow in a normal ways. Because if there's too much plants that are crowded, so plants will not have enough oxygen supplies, and they will also compete for nutrients. But the moment you thin the plants, so the plant will have enough time to grow. You can remove the weak, those looking plants. So this is something that you need to take in consideration when you are thinning. You do not just thin anyhow. So you focus on the plants that are weak. So the weakest one are the ones that you remove. So if they are all healthy, you can transfer them to another free area within the gardens. So meaning that if maybe there are no plants that are thin in that clouds. So if the plants are all healthy, or the seedlings are all healthy, so those healthy ones, when you remove them, you just transfer them to another free area within the gardens. You don't need necessarily to throw them away because you still need them and to increase your production or your yield. So vegetables is continuing. There are ways to control both pests and diseases. So for you to be able to control pests and diseases, you need to operate with healthy soils. Most friendly insects they like that health soils, and they can be significant in preventing many plant diseases. Work with resistance varieties. There are vegetables which are resistant to diseases in certain environments, and this should be planted unless an investment in chemical control is profitable. So if you want to control disease and pests, so there are some vegetable varieties that are resistant to disease. so that diseases cannot attack such type of vegetables. So space plants correctly. If plants are too crowded, they compete for everything, and they will generally be unfit. So they easily succumb to disease or pest attack. Plant at the right times. Pests and diseases occur with the onset of rains. And then also plant a variety of crops and change crop patterns. This will help to break the life cycles of pests and diseases. Water from below. Use a hose or a watering can that does not splash dirty soils on vegetables' leaves. Drip irrigation is the best to use because it just water from the bottom of the plant. Flood irrigation is another good watering method in this regard. I want you to learn about factors that need to be considered when deciding to whom the vegetable should be sold, and also factors that a farmer should consider when choosing a suitable site for growing a vegetables. When growing a vegetable, there are certain factors that a farmer should consider when selecting a site. So those factors are there in your study guide. I want you to go to your study guide and study those factors into details. So we have come to an end of these modules, and I advise you to focus on your modules and study more on your modules. And when you are preparing for your examination, I want to urge you that when you come to an examinations, pay attention to the marks that are allocated to the questions and answer accordingly. I advise you not to leave questions blank or not answered or unanswered questions. Try all your level best and answer according to how you understand. Because if you leave the question blank, that will make it difficult for us to allocate marks to you. There is no a wrong answer. Do not doubt yourself, because any other answer that you might think might be the correct answer. So I advise you, when you are preparing for exams, so make sure that you are able to answer all the questions and do not leave any question blank. And if you have got any other difficulties when you are studying or when you are going through your modules, or you do not understand anything and you want to know more information or clarification about these modules, feel free to contact me, and I'm your tutor. As I have already provided my contact details there, and I can still repeat them again. You can contact me, Mr. Abraham Sholongera. My mobile number is 081-4438-360, or you can send me an email at shekutambavictory@gmail.com. I thank you.